The fastest way to ship a worse RAG system is to compare two pipelines with the same demo questions and call it an evaluation.
Exactly. If both pipelines see easy queries, the scoreboard lies. Comparing RAG systems is really about isolating what changed, testing the right failure cases, and mixing hard metrics with human judgment.
So not just, did answer A sound nicer than answer B?
Right. You want to know which component earned the improvement. If you change chunking, embedding model, retriever, re-ranker, prompt, and generation model all at once, you learn nothing except that the total output changed.
That is the part teams skip, because the all-in rewrite feels dramatic.
And it destroys attribution. A clean comparison usually holds most of the pipeline constant and changes one meaningful factor or one bundle with a clear hypothesis. Example, pipeline A uses larger chunks with no re-ranking. Pipeline B uses smaller chunks plus re-ranking. Then your question is specific. Did finer retrieval plus re-ranking improve evidence selection enough to justify extra latency?
So, what should actually differ between the two pipelines?
Only the parts tied to your hypothesis. Common candidates are chunk size and overlap, metadata filtering, embedding model, top K retrieval, re-ranking, context window strategy, prompt instructions, citation behavior, and generation model. But pick changes that reflect a trade-off: accuracy versus latency, recall versus precision, cost versus robustness.
Trade-off matters because somebody wins and somebody loses, right?
Yes, a pipeline with high recall may pull in more relevant facts, but also more noise. A pipeline with aggressive re-ranking may improve answer faithfulness, but add delay. In production, that can shift who trusts the system. Support teams want speed. Legal or compliance teams want fewer unsupported claims.
Give me a concrete case.
Say you have a customer support assistant over internal docs. Pipeline A retrieves 8 chunks by dense similarity and sends them straight to the model. Pipeline B retrieves 20 chunks, re-ranks to 5, and forces answers to cite sources. If users ask, "Can I refund an annual plan after 30 days?" Pipeline A may answer smoothly from a near-miss policy page. Pipeline B may surface the exact billing exception buried in a changelog. One sounds better. The other is actually safer.
Fine. But if I am building the test set, what queries or cases should I compare?
Not just frequent queries. Build slices. Include simple fact lookup, multi-hop questions that require combining 2 documents, ambiguous wording, queries with overloaded terms, time-sensitive policy questions, long-tail edge cases, and adversarial asks where the answer should be "I do not know" or "not enough evidence."
So the test set should reflect failure modes, not just traffic volume.
Both. Weight by real traffic, but reserve a strong portion for risky failures. Also include negative retrieval cases, where the corpus does not contain the answer, because hallucinating confidently is often more damaging than missing a low-value fact.
Another example.
Imagine an engineering knowledge base. Query 1. What port does Service Atlas use in staging? That is a direct lookup. Query 2. Why did deploys start failing after the off-library upgrade? That may require a postmortem plus a runbook. Query 3. Can contractors access production logs? That is ambiguous because access rules vary by team and date. Query 4. What is the retention policy for traces in the Europe cluster? That is time-sensitive and region-specific. A real comparison needs all 4, not just the easy first one.
Now the uncomfortable part. Metrics. People want one number.
One number is seductive and dangerous. Use a small stack. At retrieval time, track recall at K, maybe precision at K, and whether the gold evidence appears in the candidate set. At answer time, track exactness or semantic correctness against references when possible, citation accuracy, abstention quality, latency, and cost.
But retrieval metrics can look great while the final answer still fails.
Exactly, because having the right chunk somewhere in top 10 is not the same as using it correctly. That is why you combine metrics with manual inspection. Read sampled outputs by slice. Ask 3 questions. Did it retrieve the right evidence? Did the answer use that evidence faithfully? And if evidence was missing or conflicting, did it respond safely?
So manual review is not a nice extra. It is how you catch the hidden losses.
Yes, especially regressions that metrics blur together. A pipeline can raise average accuracy while becoming much worse on policy exceptions or multilingual queries. Manual inspection reveals pattern, not just score.
Walk me through a practical evaluation loop.
Start with a frozen corpus and a labeled test set. Define the hypothesis, like re-ranking improves citation faithfulness on ambiguous policy questions. Run both pipelines on the same queries. Log retrieve chunks, ranks, final answers, citations, latency, and token cost. Compute metrics by slice, not just overall. Then manually inspect a stratified sample, top wins, top losses, and weird cases where the pipelines disagree sharply.
And what do you actually look for in those disagreements?
Mechanism. Did one pipeline miss the right document because chunking split a key sentence? Did re-ranking favor a summary page over the source of truth? Did the prompt cause the model to over-answer when evidence was thin? The point is to learn why one pipeline wins, so you can improve deliberately instead of cargo culting a benchmark score.
Give me one more grounded example where this changes a decision.
A team compares two HR policy assistants. Pipeline A is cheaper and slightly faster. Pipeline B is slower, but cites exact clauses and abstains more often. On aggregate, A scores a bit higher because common PTO questions dominate the set. But sliced by high-risk queries like parental leave, contractor eligibility, and country-specific exceptions, and B clearly wins. Manual review shows A invents policy details when retrieval is weak. Suddenly, the decision is obvious. Deploy B for high-risk channels, maybe keep A for low-stakes internal search.
So, the winner is not always one pipeline everywhere.
Exactly. Sometimes the right outcome is segmentation, not a single champion. Compare pipelines against the job they must do, the risks they carry, and the users they serve.
Which means a shallow bake-off can hand power to the wrong system.
And the cost shows up later as bad answers, broken trust, and expensive cleanup. Compare one real difference at a time. Test the cases that hurt, and let metrics and human review challenge each other.
Because in RAG, the pipeline that demos best is not the one that survives contact with production.